Feels like there's a lot of e-bikes everywhere all of a sudden, doesn't it? They were starting to pick up here in the US a few years ago, but over the last couple, sales skyrocketed. Last year alone, the US imported 790,000 of them. They've even blown past electric car sales. So with that many electric bikes out in the wild, if you're in the market to buy one, it begs the question, what are the best electric bikes to buy? Well, after a lot of research and testing, I think I finally have narrowed it down to a good list of 4 of the best electric bikes out right now for various different scenarios and riders, and they all fall within the rules here in the US for qualifying as e-bikes. And they even have EU versions for all of these bikes to meet those legal requirements as well. Now, speaking of those rules, I'll probably do a full decoder episode video on all of the nitty-gritty of that. But suffice it to say, for this video, most states here have a 3-class system, like what we have here in New York City. And the most common e-bikes are Class 1 and Class 2, with the major difference being Class 1 is pedal assist only, and Class 2 has pedal assist, but also a throttle that you can use without pedaling, which is a lot of fun, actually. Now, both of these classes must have pedals on them. They must be limited to 20 miles per hour when using the electric motor. They do not require helmets, at least here in New York City, but of course, they're recommended. You don't need a driver's license, and they can be ridden where bicycles are normally ridden, and are just the most popular e-bikes by far. First up, we have the Velotric Discover One, and I'd probably easily say it's the bike that works for the most scenarios while also being relatively affordable. Now, full disclosure, this bike, of all the other bikes that we're testing, was actually sent to me by the manufacturer. Velotric was actually founded by some of Lime's original hardware team, you know, the super popular e-scooter and e-bike company. And the idea behind it was to create a super simple urban commuter e-bike that's also stylish. And on that note, I like the style. I think it's pretty sleek. The battery is part of the frame, which helps give it a more traditional bike look, but it can easily be removed with a key and charged separately, which is convenient if you don't want to carry your bike inside to charge it. I particularly like the yellow color, or mango as Velotric calls it. It just looks cool. And side benefit, cars will have a hard time not seeing you. The e-bike is also just solid feeling, and because of its step-through design, which is the term for when the crossbar is low like this, it's very easy for anyone to get on and off of. It also is very much like a normal bike, making it easy to ride, even for people who are maybe new to electric bikes. Now, unlike a lot of bikes in this price range, it actually comes with front and rear fenders, puncture-resistant tires, suspension on the front fork, a cushioned seat, a bell, which is honestly very handy, integrated front and rear lights, and even a rear rack that you can use to store things. You'd be surprised at how many bikes that are more expensive than this one that don't even come with half of those things. They're all optional paid extras. For this US model, the manufacturer reports up to 60 miles of range from the 48 volt, 14.4 amp hour battery. That's 690 or so watt hours for those wondering. And there's no app to mess with. It just has this easy to figure out display that just shows some pertinent information like speed, battery level, trip distance, and what level of assist you have for the electric pedal assist. Like most electric bikes with pedals, the pedal assist gives you a boost as you pedal, and the amount you get per revolution of the crank is based on the level that you selected. The Velotric has 3 different levels, with 1 being just a little, 2 is more, 3 is the most. You do also have a throttle, which I love because that means you don't have to pedal at all. If you're feeling lazy or you just want to cruise on the bike, just push the throttle, and as per the laws here, the bike can get itself up to 20 miles per hour. When you run out of power, the battery can be charged fully in 6 hours. Lastly, for this bike, some people will like the fact that it has a proper and popular Shimano 7-speed gear shift system that you can control using the up and down shifter on the handlebar. And so if you wanted, you could just turn off the electric assist entirely and ride it like a normal street bike. You know, if like exercise is your thing or whatever. By the way, I'll leave links to all of the bikes in this video in the description below, along with the best prices that I could find. Okay, so next up, let's talk about the bike that everybody loves to compare to Apple. This is the Vanmoff X3, which is the same as their other S3, but just meant for shorter riders, and is the only one that I could get for this video. Regardless, the Apple association isn't without some merit. Firstly, the styling with its powder finish and very minimalistic design has an essence of Apple's design philosophy for sure. Personally, I love the way it looks, and again, I'm a sucker for the colored model. In this case, this baby blue that they call light. Regardless of which model you get, the bike just feels good. It feels fancy even. I like it. We have a very slickly built-in front and rear light, as well as front and rear fenders. And the 504 watt-hour battery has a claimed up to 93 miles of range. And it's also conveniently hidden inside the frame, although in order to take that battery out, you have to go to a Vanmoff dealership, and it's only recommended for servicing. It's not like you can take it out to charge the battery like with some of these other bikes. The Vanmoff also has an automatic electronic shifter for the gears that works pretty well, so you can just pedal and not think about anything else. You can also manually shift gears if you want by changing that setting in the app. Now the battery charges from 0 to 100 in 4 hours and from 0 to 50% in about 80 minutes. For pedal assist, the bike has 4 levels from the front wheel 250 to 350 watt motor that you can cycle through using the app, which we'll get to in a sec. Now because of the much smaller motor, the pedal assist on the Vanmoff isn't as strong by any means as the other bikes on this list. It kind of feels like you're riding a normal bike, it's just a bit easier. And now there is no throttle like some of the other bikes on this list. Instead, there is a boost button, as Vanmoff calls it, that when you press and hold it, it gives the pedal assist a much bigger push, but only for a limited time. Now personally, I prefer the throttles, I think, but it is definitely fun to just overuse the boost button, for sure. And that brings us to the more unique tech that this bike has. We have a matrix display built into the frame that allows you to see power levels, charging status, and it also turns into a skull when the anti-theft system is activated. Yes, the bike has an alarm. You can lock it when you park it by tapping the kick lock on the back wheel with your toe. When it's enabled, anytime the bike is jostled, it'll immediately give out a loud and obnoxious warning. And if someone continues, it'll go on to full-on toddler tantrum mode. It also has cellular and Bluetooth tracking capabilities, as well as Apple Find My built in, and will notify you of where the bike was last seen in the app if it's ever stolen. Speaking of, Vanmoff also offers a service for $395 for 3 years that gets you their bike hunters, that they call them. Essentially, they'll go find your bike for you or replace it for free if it's ever stolen. The app also allows to unlock and lock the bike remotely, track your rides, book appointments for maintenance, and even customize the bike from gear shifting points to sounds, and again, levels of pedal assist. The Vanmoff is definitely for the more tech-centric rider or even design-focused people, but it doesn't have as powerful of a motor as some of the other bikes, and you're paying a bit of a premium for it as well, of course. Okay, moving on from the, dare I say, more traditionally framed electric bikes, onto my pick for the best folding electric bike. This is the newest foldable e-bike from Rad Power, called the Rad Power Radix Band 5. The Radix Band 5 was just released in March, and it's a successor to their Rad Power Rad Mini folding bike. The Rad Power Radix Band 5 is a fat tire bike, which means better cruising over various terrain, and the 672 watt-hour battery they have mounted on it, which is also removable for charging by the way, allows it to get 25 to 45 miles of range on a charge depending on how you use it, and it charges to full in 6.5 hours. It's also a step-through bike, which makes it easier to get in and out of, and more accessible for a variety of rider heights. And thanks to the cushion seat and higher handlebars, it's pretty comfortable to ride as well. It also comes with puncture-resistant tires, a head and tail light, front and rear fenders, and a decent-sized rear rack. Unfortunately, it doesn't have any suspension of any kind, but the idea is that the fatter tires will help with the ride. They do, but suspension would always be, well, better. Now, it also doesn't have an app of any kind like the Velotric, and has a very simple display, if we can even call it that. It just has LEDs to show you what pedal assist mode you are in, 0 being none and 4 being the most electric assist. And then we have the battery level at the top, and you can use the buttons to turn on and off the bike, the lights, and up and down for the pedal assist. And that's that. It also comes with a belt on the left handlebar and has a 7-speed shifter on the right, as well as a throttle that you can again use to get up to 20 miles per hour as per the laws here in the US. But this is a twist one, more like a motorcycle compared to the thumb one that's on a lot of other e-bikes. Now, of course, the benefit of this bike is that it folds. To do that, you unlatch this part and fold that over, then unlatch the center and fold that in half. And there you go. The benefit to this, obviously, is that you can take the bike inside with you or easily put it in your car, on a train, etc. Now, this is still an electric bike though, so it's not light. It weighs 62.5 pounds compared to the 46 or so of the Vanmoff and the 64 pounds of the Velotric. So just keep that in mind. But of course, the folding does bring all of that weight more into the center, and it just makes it a lot easier to carry for sure. Okay, what if you deep down don't really want an e-bike? You want an e-motorcycle, but one that falls within the laws of an e-bike still. Well, this is the Super 73 S2. Super 73 gained popularity with their initial electric bike, the S1, and has since now launched a whole lineup of bikes. The various models in the R series are kind of at the top end, then we have the various ones in the Z series at the lower end, and the new S2 as the sole S series bike kind of in the middle, and the replacement to the original S1. Again, I'll have links to all of the bikes in the description below and the best price that I can find, and I'll try to keep those updated as best I can because pricing does change. Now, styling-wise, Super 73 was kind of the first to get recognized, as far as I know, for this sort of cafe racer-esque vibe, which I have to admit, I'm a complete sucker for. We have extra fat tires for a bit more cushion when riding, and front fork suspension as well to help with that even more. Built-in head and tail lights, and a flat, non-adjustable seat that's 31 inches from the ground, meaning that it'll work for anyone from 5'1" to 6'8". On the handlebars, we have very little, really. We have our thumb-style throttle on the right, and a small display and controller on the left. You can push the up and down arrows to cycle between 0 pedal assist up to level 4 pedal assist, and you can tap the button on the right of the controller to cycle through displaying your speed, range remaining, total mileage for the bike, and current pedal assist level. The bike also has an app to update the firmware and also adjust the ride modes, including a higher level meant for private property only that allows you to go higher than the top speed of 20 miles per hour. It also has a basic navigation app that's sole benefit is that the display on the handlebar does show the navigation directions. Personally, as with all these bikes, I'd buy a third-party phone mount and just use Google Maps instead. We have our gas tank looking 960 watt-hour battery that can be removed with a key to be charged separately, which again is always a handy feature. Super 73 claims a 75-mile plus range with eco pedal assist, but obviously a lot less if you're using the throttle more. And well, you'll probably be using the throttle a lot because you can't help but get the feeling that this bike has pedals only really to comply with the law. There's no gears or shifting, for example. So basically, they're for you to put your feet on while using the throttle or pedal in the desperate need that maybe you run out of juice. And even then, it's not an easy bike to pedal thanks to, again, no gears. But even with that, the styling and just the fun of cruising around town on it all more than makes up for that. And there you go, my 4 best electric bikes for a variety of different riders. I hope you guys enjoyed that. It was a bit different of a video. Took a very long time to make, not gonna lie, but it was fun. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you liked this video though, subscribe and ding the bell next to the word subscribe so that you get notified when I do new videos. And as always, regardless, thanks for watching. It's like someone's strangling the kid. But I can see that no one is strangling the kid. Don't be alarmed. The kid is just making strangling-like sounds.